I'm not introducing Sylvia, am I? Oh, good. Well, I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. I got to go to Chick-fil-A with Sylvia last night. She's awesome. And we plotted a whole bunch of stuff against all of you. And she has an amazing keynote. I'm going to give this one to Chris so he can talk while they're setting up.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Whirly. Whirly. What we didn't tell them is we actually came up with a weather bot, and it caused the storms that are going through. So, yes. So, going from there is an odd place to go, but I felt like the best way to introduce both Sylvia and her dad, who henceforth will be known as Dad for the rest of the discussion, the best way I could do that was to actually introduce you to them the same way that I was introduced to them myself. It's very rare for speaker submissions to come in the way that theirs did. So it was part of the interesting and exciting thing to share with you. Theirs came in through a GitHub issue ticket. I started, help now maintain, and sort of just let everyone else do work and hope it all works. Yay! A thing called Node Serial Port, which this was issue number 62. It seems like everything's never cover all the bases, Windows especially, because I don't think we had any Windows support at that time. And Jay Beavers, who's here, he added most of that. Thank him for that. Kenny, can you scroll down on this? So there's all this stuff and like data and all, and then there's like, so you know, there's a typical like manager of a package, like yeah, okay, I'll get to this one. And then I just happened to look down here. Oh, and thanks to Node Serial Port, our project went to the White House. Wait, what? And was used by the president. Wait, what? iPad, Raspberry Pi WAP, Node Express, Serial Port, Watercolor Bot. And I was like, holy crap, this is the greatest thing ever. So could you click on the link? So then, of course, like you normally do, I went to the link and then dove down through there. And it was Sylvia's blog talking about her crazy DC adventure. Which was funny because I live outside of DC. So scrolling down, I'm like giddy as I could possibly be. Something I wrote was in front of the president. Yay! And then she's sitting there and she's like, doing all this stuff. And she's talking with Bill Nye, the frickin' science guy. But Bill Nye was quite the interesting thing. And for them to be interviewed on the lawn of the White House by Bill Nye, the science guy, I was like, I got to build a conference for them to present at. And that was the creation point for RobotsConf. And so without further ado, I'm going to leave it to Sylvia and her dad to take you on their crazy adventure.
Mini Maker Show, yeah! Welcome to Silly Super Awesome Mini Maker Show. On this episode, we'll teach you how to clone your own toys. Crazy Putty. Squishy Circuits. Super simple copper etching. Alarmingly awesome monochrome clock kit. Soft circuitry. Awesome mini POV kit from Adafruit. What do I do with my Arduino? Super simple screen printing. Make your own groovy lava lamp. No heat required. Allowing the ink to seep through the holes only where it's needed. Reproducing your design wherever you want, again and again. With other elements, like old curmudgeon oxygen, they don't like to share their electrons much, making them great electric insulators, keeping any charge from moving freely to other atoms.
Get off my lawn.
Okay, fine.
Riding copper atoms and their free electrons.
Two or more colors using multiple lined-up screens. Or even pop-up secret ninja faces. Hi-ya! Let's go! To get the whole picture, all we have to do is move the slice to the next position in space at the right time, and our brains do the rest of the work by piecing the whole picture together from the after images. And that's persistence of vision. I love brains.
Brains.
Polar molecules love to stick to other polar molecules. How's it going?
Hey, what's up?
Okay. 5 volts, move in, drop to 0, spring back, again and again. When you do this really quickly, you get sound. By using the tone function on the Arduino, it gives the speaker a square wave at the speed we give it, in hertz. That's all for this episode. Have fun, never stop learning, keep trying if something fails, experiment with your designs, respect your soldering iron. Don't be afraid to try new things. Experiment with different types of programs or games. Maybe try and write your own. Be sure and experiment with different types of colors. Drawing 3 shoes. Show your friends. Experiment with different types of metal. Be safe. Bring your projects to the next level. And get out of there and make something.
That was only 1 week.
Yeah.
She spent 1 week, and that device over there on the left there is the very first thing that she made. It was crazy. I actually didn't know that I expected anything to come of it. I was like, here, go try and do something. Maybe you'll make something. Maybe you won't. Don't feel pressured. It's okay. And came back with something that actually moved and kind of worked. It was absolutely amazing. The real problem then became there's no software.
We had no software actually.
I really did look on Google. Software that paints. Not really. There's a few things out there, not a whole lot. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, wonder what to do. And then something funny happened around then. The startup I was working for in San Francisco died, as startups tend to do sometimes. So I was completely out of work. And I'm like, okay, well, I got some free time. Maybe I'll try and write some software for it. And I'm like, okay, well, my C is not so good. The last time I wrote applications properly for stuff was in like the late 90s in VB, and I'm like, no. Let's not continue that. And I'm like, well, I do web stuff, but can you connect the web to robots? Would you even want to? And I'm like, yeah, maybe. So I looked around online. I'm like, hey, I kind of know JavaScript, right? Maybe there's a serial. Hey, look at that. Node serial port. That's neat. And in about a week, I was able to take an SVG I found on Wikipedia and draw that with a robot. 1 week. I was like, I had never done any of this kind of stuff before. And I found native DOM implementations for doing path tracing. You can get the length of any of those paths. You can iterate through them. And you can say, just move along the path, and it will give you an XY coordinate. Then you can simply send the XY coordinate out. And I'm like, I should do this in a way that anything could send anything to it. And I had just come off of writing some RESTful API stuff. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to write a full RESTful API for this thing. Why not? I got some time. Maybe I can add this to my resume or something. You would have watched the thing scroll by. This is the documented RESTful API for current version. Yes, there is a lot of crazy stuff in there. So it's called CNC Server, and I just named it. It had some pretty high hopes of something. Right now, it only talks to the bot, but eventually it could be used for all sorts of crazy CNC stuff. Who knows? But as of right now, it supports a whole bunch of all the operations that you could possibly do. And it was, yeah. Anyway, we can move on.
Yes. Okay. As I was saying, RoboGames.
There was one more cool thing.
Oh, darn.
I had no idea. So the CNC stuff, I had never done any of that kind of stuff before. And so tracing, it's easy, right? You just follow along, and then the thing will go and paint. That's fine. But doing fills was incredibly difficult. So I'm like, how do you even do that? What would you even do? And for some reason, the math just wasn't making sense in my head. So I faked it using a spiral. So a spiral will touch all of the points moving out depending on how wide it is. So all I do, there is a DOM function for simply finding out what object is underneath an XY coordinate, just like you would use for the mouse. That's probably what it's used for. So I simply have it trace the spiral, and everywhere the proper path that you want to draw is underneath, it will simply move it down, and then when it's not on that path, it lifts the paintbrush up. So you get a kind of fake fill. There's probably much more smarter, better ways to do it, but that worked.
Okay, now I can
Yes,
talk.
yes,
Okay.
go ahead.
Okay, so anyway, in April, Robo Games came, and just a week before, we actually got that call for the White House Science Fair. And we were kind of worried, and actually, my 6th grade science fair was actually the exact same day we had to leave. So I would either not go or go. So there was this crazy stuff going on, and I wasn't
Usually
sure.
that's
So I
how it
actually made
goes.
2 science fair project boards, and it was really, really crazy, and I didn't know what to do. But after we decided we were going to go and Robo Games, I won 2nd place. It's really cool.
Woohoo!
So, woo!
What did first place go
First
to?
place was this huge Delta bot. It was like this tall with a pen, and it was drawing really, really fast and draw these really good like portraits.
It was really good at portraits and destroying pens.
Like they
basically,
had
yeah.
this, like they kept getting like these huge packs of like 500 pens, and they would break them over and over again.
You'd have to stand further back because of the splatter of ink coming from
Oh
them.
my god. Anyway, we had to leave early for Robo Games and head over to the White House Science Fair.
It was actually the same weekend, so we left for DC right after that, and then, ta-da!
Yeah, there we go.
All right, everyone, clap. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yay! One funny thing there was that the best we could tell, because we had a week and a half notice on this, was that she was simply going to go in, and no one else was allowed. So she just goes with everything she needs, and she sets everything up.
There was like a separate room for the parents. They were like watching this giant
we weren't
TV
allowed
and stuff.
anywhere.
And I was just like, oh my gosh, what do I do? And this room. I was in the robotics room, and there was like this whole bunch of other kids. It was like this U of tables, and sometimes I scooted over and I was like, hey, wait, what are you doing? Like, are you guys okay? And sometimes we had these little chatter of all the kids saying like, oh my gosh, we're so worried.
Were there some first graders?
Yes, there was first graders
over at the
there
Google
doing
table
this
or
stuff.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. There was lots of kids there. I got to look around. It was really fun. It was, really exciting to actually be in Washington, D.C. We went to some of the museums. Really great experience. So, yes.
The next, the thing that I thought was interesting about this, I don't know about you, was that I had been talking to a developer, a girl that we knew called Robot Girl. And she does cool little videos online about how to make simple robot stuff, and she does a lot of really cool stuff. She was doing iPad apps for fun, and she expressed interest in maybe making an iPad app for us. And I'm like, hey, I just finished this crazy API. I actually finished the documentation for her and just let her go with it. And in 2 weeks, she came back without even talking to me, without even saying anything, and said, okay, I'm ready to test. And I'm like, well, I have the only working robot. So I know I'll open a port in my firewall, and I'll set a webcam up above it. And it worked. Absolutely. I just gave her my public IP address. She went through my firewall and connected directly to the API and started working the bot. It was crazy. RESTful APIs are really cool like that. The bad thing was that if I ever wanted to paint anything, there's no actual thing that says who's sending what.
Yeah, I remember that. You were drawing like this Mona Lisa picture, and suddenly it went over to the corner and started drawing stars. And we were like, what the heck is happening? And then we started chatting with Robo Girl, and she said, I didn't know that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh.
Sorry, yeah, didn't know you were doing that. Anyway, so we wanted a really easy setup that did not require a laptop, because a laptop is, going to be a distraction. It's got to be up. People expect, should I be looking at the screen or something like that? So I set this up. It is a standard Raspberry Pi running CNC server and the whole stack, and it just sets itself up as a Wi-Fi access point. So there's just a little tiny Wi-Fi dongle on there. The iPad connects to it, and then you just put in the root IP address, and then the iPad can talk directly to it, and it worked.
Yeah.
What did he do with the thing?
So sometimes it didn't work, and I had to call him over and stuff. But it was really easy. I just
It's
plugged
impossible.
It in.
It works every time.
I know it works every time.
No.
But yeah.
And then the president wrote...
Go STEM, so science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
But he left the art out, and
So-
yet he was drawing with art. How funny is that?
Okay, so... yeah.
I think of all things, what have we left out?
Uh.
We've got some quickly written notes here.
Yeah.
This is actually our first keynote.
So, yeah.
Woohoo!
Woo!
All right, we have a camera. Okay.
All right, so we actually, I was thinking if...
I left the thing out.
Oh, darn it.
Thing. Actually, here, I will talk and send everyone to sleep, and you will set up the demo.
Okay.
Shh. So there's this thing called Node WebKit. After the White House, this was a thing we missed. After the White House, we went and toured with the bot. We went to Maker Faire Bay Area. We went to Maker Faire Kansas City. We were going to go to New York. Didn't happen. And then we said, you know what? We've had people come up to us and they're like, "Shut up and take my money. We want to paint with watercolors with a robot." And I'm like, okay, well, let's make it into a kit. Let's make this and put it together in a way that's really solid and people want to be able to do something with it. It also opens up a whole bunch of opportunities for kids to get interested and start learning about computer numerical control. So the next step was, okay, what software are we going to drive it with? We technically had at least 2 other working versions of the driver. It runs it's called an iBot board. You can get it from SparkFun. You just send some standard serial commands to it, and it'll operate steppers and a servo. My problem was no one could install CNC Server and feel good about it. Yes, technically, NPM install works great, but then you have to have NPM installed in the first place, and Node and everything else, and it's not a guarantee or anything. So I said, okay, we want to make this like a regular program. How do we do that? And then I found Node WebKit. And it's basically your own version of WebKit. You get it. It's yours. And you control everything through a single a web page and a main JS file, and everything else just runs. And by just using my exact same Node CNC Server code, I was able to port everything in 1 week and got our own program for Watercolor Bot, and I call it RoboPaint. Ooh, look at that. And so it installs just like a regular program on Linux, Windows, and Mac, and no one knows. It's secretly a web page. And I got there's actually an open source SVG editor. So I just kind of threw that in there. So you can open the program, and there's an SVG editor. You can open SVGs. You can modify them. You can draw your own things in the program, and then click a button and immediately start painting. There's also an auto paint algorithm that breaks images down, figures out the colors to match to what colors you have. A bunch of other fun, crazy stuff. Very cool. Okay, does this say demo time? Demo time.
Oh, we forgot to talk about the Kickstarter.
Oh, talk about the Kickstarter.
Okay. Still on? Yeah, okay. Cool. So since everybody wanted to buy a watercolor bot, we decided to launch a Kickstarter to actually make these a product. With help from the Evil Mad Scientist guys, we got the Kickstarter going, and our goal, wasn't it like $50,000? Yes, $50,000, and we actually got $90,000. So that was really great. So we launched that somewhere in July, and since right now we are actually sending watercolor bots out to people right now, and we're really excited, and educators and kids and everybody around the world are actually doing this, playing with the watercolor bots. It's really cool. So here's the demo. I guess we're trying to start something.
Are we really?
Yeah.
Are we ready?
Yes.
You're kidding me. This is cool. Okay, I think maybe it'll work. Huh, Joe? Why not? Careful, it's like all movies.
Oh, yay!
It doesn't go much higher than that. It's magic. A demo was working.
Yay! Oh, okay. So, yeah, it sort of works like an Etch-a-Sketch. As you can tell, the pulleys are moving the strings around. It works like an Etch-a-Sketch. It holds the paintbrush on the carriage, which moves it up and down to paint the...
You jinxed it.
paint the picture. Oh, jeez.
That's about right. You know, it's not right until it breaks. It's very strange. Here, I'll pull the power. Yes.
It's art.
It's inner art.
Okay. So, if it did work, it would look like that. Yes. Woo. Yeah.
Another very cool thing about the bot is here. Lift it up.
Okay, wait a sec.
It comes completely separate from its base, so you can actually hack it to do very different things. We have been thinking about maybe turning it on its side and making it a poster writer. Just put a Sharpie in here. It's completely adjustable, so you can just remove that and put a Sharpie in there and just Sharpie something up. I don't know. If you guys want to come hack, feel free. The bot is open source. The software is open source. We invite everyone to come, play, and hack. Fork us on GitHub at evilmad/robopaint on GitHub or techninja/CNC server. And I think, is that about
Yeah,
it?
that's it.
Yes,
Thank
you. Hey, yay! Do we want to? Is there time for questions? Should we do questions?
Okay. Yes. Does anybody have any questions? Yes.
Are we selling them was the question. And yes, we are in fact. You can go to watercolorbot.com. I should have put that on there, shouldn't I?
Yeah. Oh, yes, watercolorbot.com.
And there should be a pre-sale thing. I think they've made all the ones they're going to be shipping for Christmas, so there's no time yet. But they will come in
Very
January.
soon.
Yeah,
January.
very soon. Price range. I think the price online is $295.
Yes, around there. Yes.
Yeah, around there.
Yeah.
This is our personal bot. It is in fact non-production. It does not have the serial numbers or anything else on it.
This is like the one right before the ones they're saying. So
Yeah.
we only have one, but if we brought two, yes, we would totally do that with you guys.
Yes.
So, only
We're
one.
sorry we couldn't bring more than one. Also limited by carry-on.
Any other questions?
Any other questions? Oh, yes. Oh.
Yes.
Did we have technical hurdles to overcome? So many.
Oh my goodness!
Not even
the carriage
funny.
took so many revisions to do. There was this is the best one we've had so far. Like we've had the weirdest ones. If I could show some pictures, they are so weird, and it was so hard to just lift the paintbrush. It took months just to lift the
It
paintbrush.
used to lift the paintbrush like this, just kind of pushing it upwards, and the thing that did that entirely depended on how heavy the paintbrush was, and
It did not work.
It made big messes
No.
too. It was awful.
Didn't work that well. You know, they broke a lot. We also changed. The rods used to be square rods, so they were it looked way different. It was a little bit smaller. We also had the problem of the servo cord. There was a lot of problems with that. Like, you know, it was getting tangled up, and then they would go a lot. And when we first made the first couple of revisions, sometimes it would go over here and then on the side all the time. And it took a lot of time and effort to make this.
Oh my gosh, there have been so many things that just went completely wrong, and surprisingly, most of them weren't. Well, I guess maybe not surprisingly, most of them were software, but and still working some of them out. Getting it working for Windows has been a trick, as everyone has talked about. Yes, it's fun. Any other fun questions? Software, hardware, anybody?
Yes.
It's all real time right now. There is actually very, very little pre-planning. It's kind of sent straight out. So if we wanted to do finger painting with the leap motion.
Ooh, that would be awesome.
That would be fun. Could totally do that. The latest version of CNC Server actually has full command buffering, so you can send it as fast as you want. Doesn't matter, and it'll just make sure everything sends out smooth. So it's do it.
Okay, cool. Any other questions?
Oh, come on, you don't say it like that. They're scared.
Don't
It's like
be
they're being
scared.
forced to
Yes.
ask a question. As far as hardware, the community kind of did.
Yeah, when I was searching up and researching some ideas or like getting some inspiration from online on pen plotters and stuff, I found a lot, and like most of the idea came actually from research. Most of them were using pens. They were kind of boring. They had no creativeness in it. So I decided, it would be really cool to use like paint and stuff. So I actually wanted to call it PaintBot, not watercolor bot. I wanted to use like acrylic paints or the paints that come out of the bottles instead of watercolors. But it would be really cool to use watercolors, and I changed my mind. But yes, I got a lot of my inspiration from other stuff. So yeah.
Other stuff?
Other stuff.
Other stuff?
Yeah.
Really? No way. I'm going to try and make the demo work again.
Okay.
You go find
woo.
someone.
While you're doing that, I'm going to ask everyone to give another round of applause for their first keynote. That was absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
If it was their 100th keynote, it would still be amazing.